lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan. Today, I'm going to be talking about the return of a 90s comic staple. Penthouse Comics has returned. But before I get into that, I just want to thank everybody. If you're already subscribed to the channel, we appreciate all the support you give us. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Check out some of the dope content we have on the channel. We go through all types of comics, indie, big name publishers, artist editions, got interviews, bunch of cool stuff. So go check it out, hit that subscribe button. And now let's get into this not safe for work comic. Don't really have a lot of content on the channel that is like this, but to see Penthouse Comics come back, I think is super interesting. They haven't been around since the 90s. A lot of great talent was on some of those original Penthouse Comics, like huge talent. And so I think it's interesting. It's back, and it's bringing in some creators I know, some creators I don't know as much. Beautiful cover. This is the poster of this cover. This is the Not Safe for Work cover by Vanessa Del Rey. Huge fan of her work, so I had to get this cover. We get a little letter from the Penthouse Comics team talking about basically saying what I just said. It's like we're back in the 90s. Besides this being here again, it's hard not to see graphic tees and crop tops everywhere without wondering if we slipped into a time warp. So pretty cool to see this make a return when really it hasn't been around forever. And I mean, the talent on the covers that they got: Mateo Scalera, Jeff DeCall, Gilliam March, Maria Lovett, Vanessa Del Rey. Like I said, you got some other artists that I'm not as familiar with. Not only do we get some really dope comics, but there are some like articles in here talking the most successful adult franchise of all time, the most expensive adult films ever made, an article called AI Sucks, which I am a huge proponent against AI art. And then there is some pinup pages of model Sonia Mallory. So we open up. These are all part ones also. We get the story called The Dream. Jean Defoe is the writer, Gilliam March is the artist, and beautiful art. Just fantastic. It takes place, we got this, this woman. We don't really know like why she's there. She's getting hit on by this guy, and it's a live fucking sex show that's going on and starring this guy Jude, who she is going to basically recruit him to like do some work for her. Obviously this is Penthouse Comics, so it's going to be pretty graphic. She calls herself, she's basically like this producer, and she's recruiting him to do something, and she's asking him to join her on this job. And we don't really get too much of a backstory here, but there was, in this club, there was this woman that was sitting here staring at this show. Her name is Senia Song. She has ties to basically this mob boss. She gets what she wants. The woman that was a part of this show with Jude gets her ass beat in the alley, and Jude gets taken by Cena, and basically she gets what she wants. She got him fired from the club that he was working at, and now basically he's going to use him as her, personal plaything. And so now he's back with this woman that was recruiting him. She's like, I hope you satisfied her. And we kind of end on this cliffhanger because, he doesn't really know what she's about and what she wants him for. He's still worried about his partner that got her ass beat on the stage, and he's wondering. He's like, he asks how she's doing, and this woman just tells him to go basically check for himself. So that was a great story. I really dug this one by Steve D and Jeff, called Video Drone. It's these two women, kind of feels almost post-apocalyptic just in terms of like the way they're dressed and stuff, and they're going into this club and they are disguising themselves to look white because they have to look like Confederate ladies, and they're gonna go put on this show. They take these pills and it sets them on this like psychedelic fucking trip as they're dancing on stage to all these obvious rednecks. Really dig the art on this one. We get a little bit of a backstory with these girls. Even so much as like, one of them while she's in the army is sending drones to spy on her fellow female soldiers that are in the shower. That's where they meet and they become a couple and get kicked out of the army. And we see how after they got kicked out of the army, they team up with this one woman, Yasmina, who is basically a drug trafficker and now has these women that are former soldiers recruited with her, and they're gonna go take down these fucking Confederate douchebags. And as they're dancing on the stage, the makeup's coming on, and they just go to war with these guys. This is a super fun story, really cool. Love the coloring on here. This particular panel with the fucking axe throwing, and the axe hits this fucking Nazi fucking guy right in the head, and then it ends with them, staying in the Bates Motel. So that's pretty fun. We get this female performer of the year crossword puzzle. We get Miss October, Playmate serial killer, Steven Desberg, and Alan Querix, I think is how you say it. This one kind of reminded me a little bit of like old school Sean Phillips, the style on here. So this is pretty cool. She's burglarizing something, and she obviously has this relationship with this cop that's trying to stop her, and there's a history between them, and he lets her go. And then we go back to 2 years earlier, and this is set in the 60s, which I really dig. Talking about this, this woman that was like murdered, raped, and gutted. And so this kind of plays into a fact where the lead character of this story, something happened to her. She was raped. She is now deaf in one ear because of how she was attacked. And so she basically goes on a rampage and is gonna hunt down this guy that wronged her. So very, very interesting story. I kind of like how she ends up becoming this like cat burglar, going after this, hunting down the information any way she can for this person that put her in this state. And then we see there's a serial killer on the loose, which kind of was alluded to in the title of the story. And it's Miss February, and she's murdered and just like sliced and diced. So now they're thinking like that this might be an ongoing thing where they're going to get another killer, another death every single month. So very excited to see where this goes. Then we get I Spit on Your Grave. This is adapted from a previous story by J.D. Morvan, Ray Makate, Rafael Ortiz, Skatronic, Hiroki Oshima. This is an interesting story. This like random guy moves into this town. He's going to go work at this bookstore, which is a rare bookstore. And then he proceeds to have his way with the ladies in this town. Again, this is set in the past. Really dig these like period stories. But he just basically works his way through all the women. Eventually, you can see that he's just kind of bored with it all. And all these stories end very abruptly. I know they're part ones to other things, but all of them are like so well drawn. And it reminds me of like, like stuff like heavy metal, like how you'd get like these amazing artists like that I have I didn't discover them except in books like this. So definitely makes me want to kind of seek out some of these the works by these creators that are outside of this. And like I said, we got these articles of like most expensive adult films, most successful adult franchise. We get this AI sucks article, and then obviously we're going to get I don't need to show it off, but we're gonna get some photos featuring this model, and then we get the preview for issue 2. Get a quote from Arnold on the back. But interesting to see this back on the shelves. I don't necessarily like seek out these type of comics, these adult comics, but there is a lot of talent in them, and not all of it is super gratuitous. As you could see, like there was nudity, but it's not like overly sexualized comic books, and it's definitely worth checking out. I have read I read a couple issues of the old Penthouse Comics, but they're a little expensive to get. This seems like these will be bi-monthly. Very excited to, check out, the next chapters of these stories. If this is your thing, I definitely, recommend you go hit up your shop, pick up a copy. Definitely worth the price of admission. The other covers were dope too. I know I don't have them, but the Scalera A cover was really sick as well. So go check it out. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid drops. And on that note, I'm out.